guys, it's Rhonda. Welcome back to another Tackling Disney layout. Today I am tackling our travel day. So I am using, as you just saw, Becky Higgins Design G pocket page protector. And this particular page protector has two vertical 3x4s, two vertical 4x6s, and two horizontal 4x6s. Now, I prefer to scrapbook pocket style. That's just what I'm most comfortable with. It's my preferred method of scrapbooking. The majority of my album will be pocket pages. I just find that that's the easiest way to scrapbook when you have a lot of photos, especially to scrapbook. This 2-week vacation and the fact that it's Disney automatically means that I have a lot of photos because I tend to take a ton. But so this is the first pocket layout that I've done so far. The other layouts that I've done are 12x12 layouts. So I knew that this would be the perfect place to start the pocket scrapbooking because I do have quite a few pictures from our travel day, as well as the little ephemera and memorabilia that I've collected from that day. So I'm trying to incorporate my luggage tags, my Magical Express information, and our boarding passes. So you'll see me incorporate all that into both sides of this layout. So what I'm working on right now is just that filler card right there in the middle, that yellow and white striped paper. This front side does end up having two filler cards on it. It's just the way that the photos worked out, and I'm really happy with the way this turned out. I think it turned out super cute. But what I'm doing right now is just adding some embellishments that I have, and I believe that these came from my Cocoa Daisy kit from earlier this summer. They had, I believe it was July maybe, they had a travel themed kit for the month, and we didn't travel during the summer. This was a September trip, so I knew that I would want to use some of these embellishments for my travel layout. So I just went ahead and pulled them aside and then pulled them out when I was ready to use them. So that's what I think those two items came from. The red Pack Your Bags banner, that is from an older Say Cheese collection, probably one maybe. But again, I've never used it. It's just been sitting in my stash. So I decided that that was the perfect place to use that. I do come back to that card because it's just missing a little bit of something. And you'll see me try and figure out what goes there in just a little bit. But I set it aside, and right now I'm working on that card on the bottom right. That 4x4 card, again, comes from one of the older Say Cheese collections, but I pulled it out because obviously it has luggage on it, so it would be perfect for a travel day layout. So I'm just working on right now layering my boarding passes behind that card. So I'm just kind of laying that down, adjusting those boarding passes, and then I'll end up trimming them off and inking my edges, and then that card will be done. So it was a super simple card to do, and I really like the way it turned out. And again, I've incorporated some memorabilia that I've been hoarding since that day. So I think now I'm going to try and figure out what else I want to put on that yellow and white card. And I'm thinking, well, maybe do I want to put the stickers that go on my luggage? I end up not using that. I didn't like the way that turned out. So again, I just let it sit there for a minute while I try and figure out what else I want to do. So that top right card that I'm working on right now, that is a 3x4 card. It says Happiness Starts Here, and that is from the Say Cheese 4 collection. So I ink my edges for that, and then I decide to go back to my yellow and white filler card. And I found that little oval right there that says Here We Go. And I decide that that's perfect. The color is perfect. It ties into that, and it fits with the whole travel theme. So I decide to go ahead and use that. I ink up my edges, and then I'm going to add some foam pop dots to the back of it just to give it some dimension and pop it up a little bit from the background. But I go ahead and I add that, and then that card is done as well. Then I'm going to go back to that Happiness Starts Here and try and figure out what else I want to do with that. So I pull that red and white paper, and again, I am almost positive it comes from the Say Cheese 4 collection, and I trim that out. I love the way the red background on that just kind of pops from that. So I end up putting that in the middle of the card. Again, a super easy filler card. Really, I mean, really nothing to it. I do end up, after I ink my edges, you'll see me pull out some fun foam, and I use that fun foam just to kind of pop it up from the background. And as I turned that over, I realized that that red and white paper came from the Cartabella Deep Blue Sea collection because I could see what was on the back side of it. So that was not from the Say Cheese 4, but it's the exact same red and it works perfectly. So yeah, couldn't ask for a better piece to go on the back of that. So I'm just inking out my edges, and again, that card is done. I like to pop them in the page protectors as I finish them so that I know that I'm done with that and I can move on. So I'm going to pop those 3 in there. That bottom left one that says, honey, pack your fat pants, we're going on a cruise. I have saved that for months. It was in my stash. Knew it would be great for this travel day. So that's going to go on there. So now I'm looking at that 3x4 card, and I always take a photo of our gate, always, once the sign says where we're going. So obviously this one's at Orlando. I took a picture of that, and I just added that map heart and then a little chipboard sticker that says magic. The other 3x4 card was a screenshot of the Disney Countdown, or the Disney Cruise Line app. It has a countdown timer on it for your cruise, and then I took a screenshot of that once it hit 0. So that's what that is up there. Really nowhere to embellish a lot on that, so I just kind of left it as it was and didn't do anything with it. Popped it in the protector and calling it done. So now I'm going to turn to that fat pants card, and I just end up mounting it on a piece of paper. I do actually do more to this than I thought I did. Which I thought I just tucked it in there, but if I can embellish, I will embellish. And there was a perfect spot down there on the bottom left-hand corner for me to add a little bit of embellishment. So that's what you're going to see me do now. So I did go ahead and mount that on that same floral cardstock that I used up in the top right-hand corner. So I've just gone ahead and punched out a circle. I think that's my 1-inch circle punch. And I've just punched out a circle on that, inked it up, and popped it in that blank space at the bottom. When I trimmed that card down a little bit to fit in there, on that piece of paper, there was still a little bit of the some writing on there. So I wanted to cover that up. So that's what I went ahead and did. Anytime I add a camera, I always add a heart on there, and inevitably I go to put it in a page protector and it pulls the heart off and I have to fix it. Like you would think I would learn, but no. So there's just kind of a brief glimpse at the pockets and how those turned out. So on the back side, I've got a few more pictures from our pictures from our travel day. So I've got a couple photos that we took out side of the plane. I love to take photos from the window and incorporate those in my album. I've got the other half of our boarding ticket. You can see I've got our Magical Express information and our Magical Express luggage tag. So I'm going to focus on those first, and I'm going to go ahead and just add those to that card. And they take up most of the room on there, which is nice, so I don't really have to do a lot of embellishing. You'll see me struggle with this. I'm not sure if I cut it out or not, but I struggled with how to embellish this. And I auditioned a few pieces and nothing worked. And finally I figured it out, but I think it takes me a little while to figure out exactly what I want to do with this. So I'll play with it and I'll go back to another card, and yeah, we'll keep playing with it and come back, because that is what I do. And I really love that Let's Go tag. And I don't think that I find a place for it on this layout, but I really love that tag, and I try to use it in a couple different spots, and that just doesn't work. So that destination, again, I think that came maybe from the Cocoa Daisy kit from the summer. But I think that along with that screenshot is from the Southwest app. It's the flight tracker, and I always like to take a screenshot when we get into where our destination is. So obviously this time it was Orlando, and so as we approached Orlando, I took a screenshot of that and just included that. I'm going to put that destination on there. Again, I pop it up on foam and call that one done. That one was super easy. I do end up, I think, inking my edges as I always do, but that one was super easy. The other two 3x4 photos that I have, again, are photos taken out of the airplane. I always like to include those just because it's different every time you fly, depending on the clouds and that kind of stuff. So I end up just popping those. I don't embellish the photos themselves. I do end up just popping them in the page protector. And then I'm going to use that chipboard, airplane, and clouds. And I'm going to pop that on the outside of my page protector. It kind of joins those two photos together. Obviously, they're photos taken at the same place, just not at the same time. But it just kind of joins those two together and makes them look a little bit more cohesive. So here I go back to this boarding pass layout, and I'm going to end up leaving that cloud tag on there, and then I add a little word strip that says magical memories, and that again comes from this HUs4 collection. So I just go ahead and pop that on there, and I call that page done. So it ended up being easier than I thought it was going to be, but I did struggle with the embellishing part of it, which actually was pretty simple. So again, I just ink my edges on that flight tracker and pop that in, and that page is done. So this one, again, I play with a lot, and I cut out a lot of it just so you guys wouldn't have to watch. And also my address is pretty prominent there, so I cut out a lot of the parts where you could see my address up close. But I end up just cutting out this circle that's on the Magical Express information envelope that you get. And I figured that little Magical Express Mickey would be a perfect embellishment on there. I decided not to use the whole envelope. I was going to kind of do that. I did end up, and I'm not quite sure why, you can see that luggage tag, that Magical Express luggage tag, is brand new. We ended up getting 2 sets of mail with 2 sets of luggage tags. So I couldn't quite figure out why. I still don't know why, but obviously we didn't use them, so they're perfect in my scrapbook because they're brand new and never been used. So I'm going to use that luggage tag right there. I don't actually end up using it right there in that spot. That's where I cut out a lot of the part with my address. So I just went ahead and trimmed down the Magical Express letter that came in there, added that Mickey, and then put my luggage tag over the top at an angle and just trimmed it down. So again, pretty easy to do once I figured out what it was I wanted to do. So I'm going to play around with this just a little bit more to try and figure out if there's anything else I want to add. I've got that best day ever, but ultimately decide not to use it on this layout. So I'm just going to pop my card in there. I do have to trim it down just a little bit because it's a little too large for that spot. But other than that, that card is done. So I've got just one more card left to do. And again, I played with this one quite a bit because I wanted to incorporate that napkin. So when I tell you that I save everything, including the napkins from the plane. So I really wanted to use that napkin, but I can't figure out how to make it work. So I go to my stash and I pull out, this again is the Simple Stories Say Cheese 4 collection, and there's that cute little card, the 3x4 card that says away we go with the airplane in the cloud. Matches my theme, matches with everything else I've got going on the other cards. Decide I want to play with that and try and make that all work together. It's just not going to work together. So I struggle with that napkin, and you'll see that in just a minute. But right now I'm going to try and incorporate some of the luggage tags on there as well. So these are our checked bag luggage tags that obviously show that we're going to Orlando. So I'm going to go ahead and mount those on that blue piece of cardstock right there. So the nice thing is that they have a sticky back. So I just went ahead and pulled the sticky back off. I'm going to end up just layering the 2 tags. The one has my name, the one has my husband's name. I'm just going to end up layering those 2 tags. Once my hair gets out of the way, you can see that. But yeah, so then those will become the top of my card. And I thought that worked out really well. So you'll see me play with the napkin. Again, I'm not going to be able to use the whole napkin. So what I end up doing, I'm going to put that away card on there, away we go card, and then I'm just going to trim out the southwest portion of that napkin. So obviously I'm not going to be able to use the whole thing, and the more I looked at it, the more it didn't add anything to the layout, so I decided not to use it. So I just went ahead and cut out the southwest portion of the napkin. I think this may have been another day, clearly, but I laid down that away we go. I've also got that little tag that says airplane. Just pop that on there. I've glued down the southwest from the napkin, and then I'm just going to go ahead and add some washi tape. So then I will ink my edges, and then that card will be done, and that will complete the entire pocket page layout for our travel day. So I'd like to thank you guys for joining me. Like, subscribe, do all the things, and I will see you guys next time with another Tackling Disney layout. Have a good day. Bye-bye.